do that every time. All right. What is up, peeps, peeps, peeps? Did any of y'all catch me earlier playing video games? Boy, it was fun, let me tell you. So, in case you didn't catch it, I'll kind of recap it for you guys. But I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to wait for some people to hop in, obviously, before I start telling a story to no one. Because it was pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. Some of y'all might have caught it earlier. And again, we're going to talk about that just because it was pretty sweet for the first time ever doing a video game stream. Just because I've always wanted to test it out and, just run one just because. Made it even more fun that I have an audience, obviously, with YouTube to kind of back me up a little bit and cheer me on. It was kind of funny. I had some people watching, and I was testing it out because I had never streamed from Twitch to YouTube, and so I wanted to test that. And I found this app on your phone that you could do it with, but there was a lot of bugs with that, so I'm not going to do it that way anymore. But it was funny because, the phone fell over because somebody messaged me, and it vibrated and fell over. And it was, right at the end of the game, and people were like, oh, crap, it's way too heated right now for him to pick up the phone. It was funny. But, anyways, so in case you did miss it, earlier today, I ran a live stream for a video game that just came out recently called Apex Legends. Some of y'all might be familiar with it, but I was playing that earlier today, and I was just testing the live stream capability from Twitch and gaming and all of that. I just wanted to see what it was like. And so I hopped on and started playing, and I hooked up my setup down here with my TV and my Xbox and started playing, and it was just really fun because we got into this game. I didn't know the two players I was playing with, and we get towards the end of the game, and all of a sudden, it's me and him, and we had already knocked through 2 or 3 squads, and it's me and him in this last squad, and he goes down real quick, the circle's closing in, and all of a sudden I go down and just take this dude out with a bunch of poison gas from Caustic, and then I had the Spitfire, and I was just laying into him because I had the extended mag. Dude, it was so funny. But basically, needless to say, won my first match, got a W on the first time ever video game streaming, so that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy about that. Gamer tag is Tank, Tank Buster 13. It's from when I was 9 years old. I made that up, and it's been my video gaming handle ever since. But it was a fun day. I got to do something. I took a couple hours to play that and set that up and do something just kind of fun because I've been working my butt off trying to get everything ready for all of these new course updates that we're bringing to the Digital Marketing School 1.0. We're putting together, it's 26 new videos for the Digital Marketing School 1.0 that'll be ready by the end of March, or middle of March, end of March. We've already got pretty much all of the documents done. So all of those are ready. All we have to do now is shoot, I'm finishing up the last 2 or 3 documents tomorrow. And then after that, we shoot the videos the next week. We go through here and say hi to some people. William Helsel, what's up, man? Sam B, what's going on? Adslam, what's up, man? Glad to have you here again. Corrine, hey, Jordan, Chris here from San Antonio. What's going on, Chris? Although your name says Corrine, that was really confusing for a second. How many cold calls should I? Let me get to your questions in just a second, guys. So if I don't answer it now, I'll type it again. We're going to open it up and say hey to everybody first, and then I'll get to your question. Hola, amigo. What's up, Jair? Or Jair, Jair? You tell me. Jair would be number 1. Jair would be number 2. You tell me which one. Dakari, I'm going to guess. Carter, woohoo, first time catching it live in a long time. Glad to have you back. David Ortiz says he finally made it. Apex Legends is fire. And again, gamertag Tank Buster 13 if you want to look me up on Xbox, and I'm on sometime. I don't play usually much until late at night. Just because that's when I finally get away from work. But if you guys want to play later and I have the time, we'll set it up. We'll play. Gustavo, appreciate the donation, man. Thank you very much for that super chat. Luis says, what's up? All right. Luis also says you were killing it earlier, literally. Dude, I'm telling you. I played the second game too. I played another game immediately after that, and we came in second place. We were one player away. It was 2v1, and my teammate got downed, and then after that, like, immediately died, so. Jair. Okay, second one. Got it. I made it. Caleb says he made it. Glad to have you here, Caleb. You guys just do me a favor just to help get more people in the stream and to show more entrepreneurs our live stream and let them know that we're doing this. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. You're going to have to do it anyways if you want to win the mentorship program. So hit the thumbs up and leave a comment if you're just now showing up, saying hello, saying your name, and where you're from, and just let everybody know you're here, just so I can get to know who you are. Really, that's really a big part of it. Is I do these live streams to get to know you guys and to provide feedback. So just make sure you leave that little comment down there so I know you're here. Let me go back up and we'll address some of these questions since I've got some time and we don't have too many people flooding in yet. It is early. We are still about 4 minutes early, so that's why we're still a little slow, but that's okay. People will show up in about 4 to 5 minutes, I promise. All right, first time. Wait, nope, that's not where we're at. We have one before that. How many cold calls should I aim for each day in the beginning? And Sam, that is a very good question. If you're going to be doing cold calling, really just any kind of cold sales approach where it's not like networking. Networking is less of a cold approach if you're being introduced or if you're going out and meeting people at, say, a networking event where there's a training going on about marketing, right? People are more interested in that specific topic. But if it's cold marketing and you're doing cold calling, cold emailing, messaging, whatever it is, going into businesses cold, it's a numbers game. That's what you have to understand about sales in general. Just sales in general, even when it comes down to generating leads on Facebook, it's a numbers game. You're generating so many leads, but how many of those leads convert? And to get people to be generated into a lead, you have to reach so many people with a campaign, right? That's why the sales funnel always gets smaller as you go down. So understand that you have to reach a ton. Now, how many should you do on a day-to-day basis? I would recommend at least, it depends on how much time you have in a day. But if you could be making 50 phone calls a day, that's what you should be making. 50 different businesses every single day. And people will say, oh, well, there aren't 50 businesses. Yes, there are. There's more ways than just looking. See, that's what a lot of people think. They have this one-track mind like, okay, well, I looked on Google and I didn't see any businesses in that category that I'm trying, in the niche I'm trying to go for, other than the ones I saw on that search, right? Well, that's what you have to understand, is that's why we exist, because businesses aren't getting their business on Google. Thus, people like you don't even know they exist, right? So it's not just about using Google. You have to find multiple resources. You actually have to go and pay attention. Like, one of the best pieces of advice I got when I was back in Jacksonville and I first started working in this industry was from a sales rep there. And she was like, Jordan, when you're trying to find new clients and you're trying to build your business, you have to look at every opportunity. You have to become more aware of your surroundings. I actually started reading a new book today, guys. And if you want, I'll leave the link for it. It's called Mind Hacking, and it kind of goes into this theory. But really, you have to understand that you have to become more aware of everything around you to really take in all of the opportunity that exists. If you dismiss things, then you're going to miss something, right? And so when you're driving along in your local area, when you're just literally riding in the car, you shouldn't be driving around and just focusing on what's in front of you. If you're trying to grow your business, you should be focusing on any business that you see around you. If you see something new, if you're watching TV and you see a local ad on TV about a business, advertising on TV, that is people don't realize how much gold there is just by watching TV commercials, especially if you watch local programming. You can go watch a local TV programming just segment or whatever, watch for the commercials though, and then pick up those local businesses that are advertising on TV. A lot of the time, if they're small enough businesses but they're large enough to spend on TV, that's a good thing, because of the fact that they're wanting to get more results with their marketing. That's why they're spending on TV ads. But TV ads in a lot of ways suck if you don't have a large enough budget. So businesses kind of mess up. They don't have a 6 month to 8 month branding budget that they can work with, and that's really what they're relying on with TV. That's a branding budget style, or branding style of marketing nowadays. You can do lead gen on TV, but it's much harder to do. So That's the whole point, though. You have to understand that every opportunity is something for you to take and turn into a client. You have to be the one that's actively searching for new clients. You can't just be sitting in your home and expect to get all of the results. There's something called the Book of List. That's a great resource for finding new businesses to go and target. The Book of List is just something that your local city, at least as far as in the U.S., I know we have a Book of List. I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but you might be able to find something similar. But basically what the Book of List is a book, literally, with lists of all of the businesses in your local city. And you can find all of those, at least the ones that are publicly listed. So there's several ways to find clients, and I recommend, if you have the time, to be running through at least 50 businesses per day during the work week. And if you can't do it on the work week, then you need to find businesses on the weekend that'll be open for you. I've sent out 170 emails in 2 days, only got 2 replies, and they both shoot me straight with how much, question, any advice. And that's the thing about cold emailing that kind of sucks. Emailing is very hard to... Here's the thing. People try to go at cold emailing, and to do cold emailing, you should understand that you're probably going to have to email about 1,000 people in about 2 days to get somebody to answer you and set up a meeting. That's how emailing works. The conversion rate for emailing versus phone calls is probably, I'd say, 90% lower, because you have to reach out with a lot more emails and messages. But that's the thing. It's a lot easier to send an email, right? And then outside of that, there's also a follow-up sequence that's different than if you were doing a follow-up via phone call with someone. There's a longer time frame, right, in between sending emails. So what I would recommend is, if you're going to do, emailing is great, and a lot of people just try to do emailing because they don't want to leave their house. But really, that's one of the worst. It's not one of the worst. It's just, it has one of the lowest conversion rates, meaning you're going to spend more time sending emails. So the best way I can say to do it is, if you're going to do email, you need to be targeting who you're trying to reach more specifically. So try using tools like LinkedIn and DuckSoup to find people who are specific, who you're specifically trying to reach out to, and start trying to maybe build relationships on there that move to email. But I don't know. I just don't recommend cold emailing a ton. You can use it. It can be effective, but you need to be a decent writer. That's part of it. You have to be able to sell via email. Like, you actually have to write and be able to sell via your writing. That's copywriting. You have to have experience really with good copywriting. If you're not a good writer, you're not going to, that's the thing you have to understand. You have to really, really look at your strengths and weaknesses. I'm not a good writer. That's why I don't choose to do a ton of emailing. I would much rather go out and talk to businesses, or go in and visit the actual business itself and take them a document that I created for them, versus sitting there and emailing them and trying to get them that way. I'm a good writer, but I'm not the best writer. And really, to sell someone with something via email, you need to be one of the best writers. So those are just some tips with you there. I would try looking at phone calls, going in, and networking events. Those are great. Trying to find meetups, really, where you can go into the meetup and host a training. Say, get in contact with the meetup coordinator, the meetup host, or whatever you want to call it, and ask them if they ever do training sessions, and say, look, I have a free training session. I'm a marketing expert. I like to do, I'm specifically really good at Facebook ads and creating remarketing campaigns, and I want to come in and teach a lesson on remarketing campaigns. And that's it. You just go in, teach a lesson for free, and do a couple of those lessons. Don't just go in, do a lesson, expect to get 10 sales, and then if you don't, never do it again. It takes consistency. And people think that just because I went out and I reached out and I sent and I'm not bashing you. I hope, William, that you understand this. I'm not bashing you. What I'm saying is, most people go out with the mentality that, I can just send 170 emails and I'm going to get something. In reality, you're not very likely of getting something with only 170 emails. Number one, because it's only 170. The conversion rate is a lot lower. Number two, it's just like, there's no real connection built between, hey, do you need marketing? Or, hey, I provide marketing. I'd love to do an audit for you. Even if you're providing value, it's still hard, because you still have to get people interested enough to at least open the email, right? So that's half the battle. A lot of the time, you're probably not even, your emails aren't even getting read. And that's the thing. Do you have HubSpot? So HubSpot allows you to do a free plugin with your email. So if you send it like via Gmail, You can plug in HubSpot and it'll track and say whether it was opened or not. So are you tracking whether they're being opened or not? And that's the thing. I would guarantee you a majority of them might not be getting opened, and it's probably because of subject lines that aren't enticing enough. That's the thing that you have to understand. It's not just go at it, and if it doesn't work, oh well. You have to really go at it and master the craft of email sales, and not only email sales, but driving cold traffic with email sales, and B2B cold traffic, not even B2C cold traffic. This is B2B transaction, which is completely different. So just understand and really look at what you're trying to do and understand the industry and the niche, because email marketing is a niche, and it's something that you have to master and become really good at if that's going to be your primary method of marketing to drive new clients, right? That's why a lot of people, when they get into this, they prefer to go like into the business and go to networking events, is because it's easier to convince someone in person to at least open the door to let me talk to you than trying to get someone over email or phone call or message and say, hey, I really want you to do this with me. And not only that, but there's so many ways that people don't even think of. Like, I'm about to give you guys, if you guys want a way to get clients very quickly, just write yes in the comments box, because I'm going to give you a way to get clients very quickly. And nobody ever uses this method, but they don't realize why they should be either. So I guess I can't 100% blame you, but I mean, you don't think so narrow-mindedly, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because there's not one way to skin a cat, right? There's that saying for a reason. There's not one way to land clients either. And outside of email, phone, networking, all of it, there's still other ways to get clients. There's partnerships with other marketing agencies. Say you know someone who does Facebook ads and you don't want to run Facebook ads. You can partner with them and say, hey, I want to do SEO. You do social media and Facebook ads. We can partner up, and I can do your SEO stuff and you can do my Facebook stuff, and we can trade clients. That's one way. The one way I'm talking about right now that you guys want to know about, that you all are typing in yes about, all it is, guys, I want you to, okay, so before I even tell you what it is, what I want you to understand is every business has to spend money to acquire clients. You're spending money whether you know it or not. Time is money, is it not? So if time is money and you're the one spending your time going out getting clients, then it's costing you money to do that, right? Because you have to take your time to go do that. And whether it's you are doing it or someone else doing it, you're paying that person to go do that. So you're spending money regardless to get those clients, right? So the method then is, why do all of that when there are platforms out there that are free to join that are driving customers for me if I just do a little upfront work? Okay, so what is Jordan talking about here? What I'm talking about, guys, is there are freelancing platforms out there that is their job. All they do is drive leads to your door. That's what they do, and they're free to join. What they do is they take a commission, and everybody's like, oh, well, they take a commission. That's where I lose my money. No, it's not, because your marketing budget should be around 10 to 20% anyways, depending on your business. So Upwork, for example, takes 20%, but you just landed a client. Let's say you get them to spend $1,500 per month. Or let's say you get them to start with just Facebook ads and they're spending $500 a month on ads and they're paying you $250, but you're a new agency, so that's at least some practice for you. You don't have any experience. That's some practice for you. Another way to do, or not practice, hopefully you've got practice in before then, but this is your first client practice experience. And then what you want to do is build that client up into a $1,000 client. Say, look, here's what we've done with your $500 budget. Now let me have $1,500 to $2,000. You pay me a little more, and we're going to manage that campaign. And what you do is you start to work these clients off of freelancer platforms where they're taking that 20%, and now you just have them pay you directly instead of paying you on the freelancer platform. Now you're keeping that extra 20%, meaning you get more money, right? But those platforms do the job for you, like freelancer.com, freeup.com, upwork.com, fiverr.com, and there's tons of them, right? There's all kinds of freelancer platforms that you can go join, which I recommend. Like, don't join one and say, oh, I joined it and I didn't get any clients. Join all of them, okay? It's a numbers game, right? Always a numbers game. Join all of them. join and do, you know, social media management, or do blog writing, or do whatever it is that your strong suit is, that you know you can manage and get good results for clients. So that way you can get good testimonials, you can get case studies built up, and you can get clients that you can then turn into long-term clients later. Right? It's about building relationships. People go out there with this mentality that I have to go out and I have to land $15,000 worth of sales like this month. No, you don't. Most of you don't have a background or prior experience, so you have to build up somewhere. You can't just go out and show people, hey, I'm just going to kill it. And yes, that is possible. I'm not saying that hasn't happened. I have a student who's done that, but it's very rare. The students who actually do that, between the students who do that versus the students who don't, and they start slowly and growing gradually, are very few and far between. Like, there are very few students doing the I'm gonna land a $10,000, $15,000 client, or I'm gonna get 6 $5,000 clients in the next 3 months and have a $30,000 agency, and not to mention scale and hire all the people I need to at the same time without any help, without any prior funding. You have to understand, it takes time, guys. All of this takes time. Trust me, if I didn't have to take my time with Serial Entrepreneur, we'd have a lot more income. We'd have a lot more ads. We'd have a lot more things that we'd be spending money on. But we have to budget things and grow slowly, right? There are steps to growth. It's not just boom, we're out the window and we have millions of dollars. No, you have to take your time with this. So I hope that was helpful for you, because a lot of guys and girls don't even think to go to a freelancer platform, sign up for it, and start bringing in clients that way. At least you're generating revenue, and even though Upwork's taking 20%, you're still making money, you're getting testimonials, you're getting more experience, you're becoming better at what you do. So where's the complaint? And you're not working a 9-to-5 job. That's what people are, they're throwing away basic opportunities because they're overlooking things. They're trying to go after what mainstream tells you everybody else is doing because they're afraid to think outside. Stop relying on a template. Okay, think about things from what you need to do versus like what you need to do to get the ball rolling versus what everybody else is necessarily saying. Think outside the box. Like it's not outside the box, it's more thinking for yourself a lot of the time. A lot of people want to rely on what someone else says. And yes, you need to listen to people like me. I'm not saying we're not valuable. What I'm saying is we can only teach you so much. From there, you have to be the one that says, okay, this is what this person taught me. Here's my situation in front of me. What do I need to do to make the two connect and to get the best result, right? So too many people in this industry and on YouTube, my audience sometimes, people in other courses, just people in general, they expect a template for things. And if you're not willing, I'm telling you right now, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur and you're not willing to be able to figure things out on your own, you're going to have a hard time. And that's just me being real with you. So if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, if you're new to this, if this is maybe your first video you've ever seen with me and you're thinking about, well, do I want to start an agency? Do I want to start a YouTube channel or a blog? Is this right for me? The answer is simply, are you okay with change? Are you okay with making decisions on your own? Are you okay with actually doing the research and learning and then working hard to get to where you want to be? Because it's not... People try to fluff it up and make it say, oh yeah, you're just going to make all this money. Even the guys on e-commerce and drop shipping, who they show their $10,000 per month on their e-commerce store, they aren't pulling in $10,000 in revenue. They're probably pulling in, if they're doing drop shipping, they're probably pulling in 30% of that. So they're pulling home $3,000, maybe $2,000 after certain expenses. Who knows? I mean, it's different for every single store, but you're not making $10,000 in profit. So if they have to pay other people and outside of expenses and taxes and everything else, I mean, then there's even less money for them, right? So that's what I want you guys, it's not just get out there and you make a bunch of money and that's it. You don't have to, no, $10,000 a month really isn't that much if you're paying a bunch of other expenses, okay? Trust me on that, okay? It's not as much money as it seems when you're paying expenses and you're making only that $10,000. You have to make much more than $10,000 to be where you want to be. But I don't want that to say that you guys, I don't want you guys to take it as you can't do it, because all of you can easily do it if you commit. It's about a commitment level, and it's about how bad you want it. I was listening to this book called Mind Hacking that I was suggesting to you guys. If you guys want it, again, I can talk more about it later and leave the link. But it was talking about how Steve Wozniak, are you guys familiar with Steve Wozniak? If you are, leave a yes in the comments box. That way I at least know that I don't have to give you guys a whole breakdown on Steve Wozniak. But Steve Wozniak is a genius. He worked with Steve Jobs to help create, basically what we call the internet today. But he was denied a bunch of promotions at a job where he was an engineer at. And basically, they told him that he couldn't be the lead project manager. And he, at the time, was spending all of his extra time, his lunch breaks, every lunch break he had, all of his extra time at home was spent building a bunch of the groundwork for what we have today. And that's what people don't understand. I did the same thing too. When I first started my marketing agency and my YouTube channel, I was doing both of those, but at the same time, when I was doing all of that, I still had this job or really this business that I had started to start bringing in cash flow for myself. And like, I'm working 90 hours per week. That's what I was working when I was doing all three of those things at once. I was working 90 hours per week because I knew that there had to be some sort of sacrifice. It either was going to be, I was going to sacrifice making the money that I stood to make if I worked hard, or I was going to sacrifice the friendships and the events and the fun and, all the stuff you want to do. Right? I sacrificed all of that for a while because I knew that if I did, there would be a payout later on. And that meant that I could spend more time doing more of the things I wanted to do versus spending more of that time working, right? So I hope that's helpful for you guys. I hope that sheds a little bit of insight. The most successful people in the world are people who commit. They're people who truly understand what task lies ahead of them, what they're going to have to do to see success. And those are the people who actually, make it to where they want to be with their agency or whatever entrepreneurial journey that it is that you're going on. Let me see. I'm trying to find where we're at with the questions because we just went on some really big talks there. I think we went into plenty of the cold calling stuff. How much do you charge for just providing lead generation for Facebook and Google ads? Jack Johnsonville. So I don't do that. I don't like to do a la carte style campaigns. And to be honest with you, I try to avoid clients that want me to do just one portion of a campaign, especially at this point. And you guys will figure out why. If you either run one of a few types of agencies, you're either going to run that chop shop where you just take on a bunch of clients, you'll take a la carte clients, you'll take full campaign clients, and you're going to have heavy turnover, but you're also going to have a ton of clients always coming in, which is fine. That's how a lot of marketing agencies work. That's just not what I want. I want to do more of a catered, specialized agency, and I want to eventually work towards, like, for example, I had a talk earlier this week with a kid who's selling e-commerce and affiliate marketing courses. Some of you might be familiar with him, but I'm not going to say anything just in case it doesn't end up going through us. But he reached out to me wanting to market for his programs, and that's what I want to eventually do. But getting back to your question, I don't do individual campaigns just for lead gen or price just for those campaigns. What I would say is I would charge at least a minimum of $500 to $750 for management, for a management fee. I've kind of switched to a fixed rate pricing structure for the ad management. And so I would recommend at least a $500 to $750 would be your management fee for budgets of at least $1,000 to $3,500. And then from there, your budget would scale with, or your management fee would scale with their marketing budget. And that can be adjusted, obviously, whether you feel like you should charge more or less, because again, all pricing, I can't give you pricing for things, and the reason why is because pricing in Atlanta is going to be pricing different than pricing in California and New York. It just will be, because where you live determines a lot of how pricing is set up. A big, thing, not issue, but a big scenario that I have to try and resolve with a lot of my students is getting them to understand, because we have several students in my course from India. And so they want to know, well, how do I price my services if I'm in India? And really, what you kind of have to do is take the standards that I give you and then do a conversion ratio from the US dollar to whatever dollar it is that you currently work in. And then look at your area versus, other areas in your region and say, do we live in a more expensive or a less expensive area? And you have to adjust your pricing based on that. But getting back to the lead gen campaigns, I don't really run those campaigns just individually. I try to go for clients that want to do more of a full immersive style of campaign, because that's what I don't like basically working with 14 other people who have 14 other goals and then piecemealing a campaign together, because that's what a lot of businesses do. And I've just seen bad results from those styles of campaigns. Any tips for outsourcing? I'm going to put a link in here because me and Nathan are doing some content together. Okay, I'm putting a link. What? Do I have to put the HTTPS or something? Is that why? All right, well, for some reason, it's not letting me put the link in there, but it's FreeUp with 3 E's, freeup.com, okay, /serial entrepreneur. So FreeUp with 3 E's.com /serial entrepreneur. Number one, by going to that link, you'll get a $50 credit towards your first outsourcing job. But the tips are understand who you're hiring and what their job's going to be, and also what jobs you need to hire for your agency. So people always try to go out, and this is the best example I can give, but it's the worst thing you can do, is people go out and they try to hire a social media manager. They'll go out to Upwork and they'll say, all right, I'm going to hire a social media manager. But you have to understand, a social media manager, you can't just hire one person and that one person writes the copy, edits the videos, edits the photos, they also create the ad strategy, they run the analytics, they integrate it with any of your other marketing campaigns via email, or if you have specific tagging systems or analytic structures, they integrate it with all that as well. That is asking way too much of one person, right? Usually you have people who are good at writing, they're good at design, they're good at coming up with ideas and strategy. You have an ad manager, you have an analytics manager, because a lot of the times the ad managers don't really worry about reading the analytics, which is kind of weird in my opinion. So you hire people who read through the data. It's about understanding who you hire. So that's kind of a benefit of what we've put together in our course. We put together a list of all of the positions you'll want to hire, and we're updating that even because we've made some changes as well. And the cool thing is, I can't wait for this 2.0 course, because we've started with processes and operations with Asana and stuff, but now we have some other things that we've built and put in place, new guides, new templates that we've built out. So we're excited to bring all that. But anyways, as far as outsourcing is concerned, we are putting together a lot of content with Nathan and FreeUp on that. So stay tuned. Obviously, make sure you're subscribed if you want more content on outsourcing. But ultimately, again, it comes down to understanding who you need to hire and then how much that person's going to cost per hour. And then figuring out how many hours you need committed to a specific job. So if someone's writing a blog each month, or let's say they're writing 4 blogs each month, how long would it take for 4 blogs to be written by that person? And that you should consider, okay, well, this person's going to have to create an outline, they're going to have to do a little bit of planning and research for the blog, probably they'll write the first draft of the blog, and then they'll probably need to do revision, and then they'll submit it. So there's quite a bit of steps there. It might take them 2.5 hours per blog at the most, right? And that's the very most. So you'd say, okay, well, that means if I have 2.5 hours per blog, we'll just say 2 hours. 2 hours is actually pretty conservative for one blog, especially 1,000 to 1,500 words with information provided ahead of time, like the topics and other things like keywords, stuff like that. If you provide all that to the blog writer, which you should be doing with your SEO person, then it should take them 2 hours. And if they have 4 blogs in a month, that's roughly 8 hours, right? So I need to budget, and what I do is overestimate in the first month. And this is, once you figure out the pricing, you'll kind of understand. And once work a bunch of jobs, you'll understand how much it's going to cost and how many hours should be devoted. But the if the blog article writer is costing me $15 per hour, then right, and I'm writing 4 blogs, sorry, it's going to take me 8 hours. 8 times 15 is 120, right? So that's $120. That means I need to be charging at least $240 for 4 blogs in a month. But I can easily get away with charging $50 to $100 per hour or per blog. A lot of people charge $100 per blog. If you're going to charge $100 per blog, it needs to be good content, though. Don't give them crappy content for $100 per blog, because they can go out there and get a piece of crap content for $20 per blog. And they don't need to pay. Like, if you're going to write a $100 blog, it needs to be well written. There needs to be creative included in that blog. All kinds of SEO needs to be incorporated into that blog as far as keyword strategy, linking strategy, all of that. The pages themselves need to be optimized, all of that, right? But that's just how you work through pricing. I hope that was a good... I don't even think we were going into pricing too much, maybe a little bit, but that was a basic pricing example of what you're going to want to do. Oh yeah, we were going through outsourcing. That led into pricing. But that was some good training right there. For a lot of you who don't understand, how do you come up with a price? Well, you figure out how much the person costs. You try to determine the best you can how long it will take that person to complete the job based on all of the steps required in that job, right? So break down the job itself, what steps are required to get the job done. Determine about how long it would take for that job to be completed. Figure out how many hours that job will then take for the entire project each month. And then from there, you just work out, okay, well, that's how much it's going to cost me. How much do I need to charge? Magic, right? And Aiden, that's a good question. How much do you typically allocate budget for your... How much do you typically allocate budget for your outsourcing per client when you start your first client? So that's the thing, Aiden. You have to, I hope that little series just then kind of clarified some of that for you. You can't just go in and say, this is how much I'm going to allocate towards outsourcing. What you need to do is, before you even go in and pitch the price, that's why it's so important. Like, people don't understand. They miss this. It's like, you have to plan out the campaign almost pretty much all the way through and know how much it's going to cost before you sign that client on. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going to go back, you're going to try and hire all these people, and then you're going to realize you didn't charge enough, so you didn't make any money, and all you're doing is really paying a bunch of people to do a bunch of work for you, but you're not taking anything home. You have to work this stuff out before you actually go and get the client to sign, because of the fact that, again, if you don't know how much it's going to cost you to get that job done, if you're not doing any of the work, like if you can't manage any of it yourself, if it's not your first client, it's like your third client or something, and you can't manage the work, you have to outsource, then you better know how much it's going to cost you to complete that campaign each month. Because if not, you're going to end up, again, not losing money necessarily. You could lose money, but a lot of the time it just comes down to, like, you're not going to make any money. And what's the point in doing all of this if you don't make any money, right? Do you outsource to foreign countries? Because outsourcing to people in the USA is expensive, and that will affect the amount one makes per client. So, Jair, yes, I do outsource. I outsource to people, although I'm going to say this very carefully. Just be careful outsourcing web projects in India, because I've done it several times now, and every time I keep thinking, it's like I'm insane, because I keep thinking, maybe I'll find one web developer who will do a good job all the way through, but they don't. They just never do. And so I did find a web developer, though, in the US. It actually, like 20 minutes down the road from my house, that is only like $18 per hour, so that's pretty sweet. But that's the thing, guys. To understand that, you really just have to understand it's going to take you a long time to find the right people. You have to do filtering. You have to do hiring. You have to take the hiring process seriously. You actually have to get on video calls with each person. You need to give them proper training. You can't just give someone a job and say, hey, I want you to do all this. All right, bye. And then them just, hey, pick it up. Go. Like, they had no direction from you. Come on, be honest with yourself. Are you giving them enough direction to really fulfill the job that you're wanting them to do? If you didn't give them enough direction, then you need to look at it and say, okay, what could I have done better from a boss perspective? That's the thing that a lot of people mess up on heavily with entrepreneurship, is understanding that you have to be able to look at yourself and say, where did I fuck up? Like, where did I make this go wrong? Because what you have to start to do, this is probably one of the best pieces of advice I could give you as an entrepreneur. You have to accept the blame for everything that goes wrong in your business. Period. Everything. Why? Because it's your business. Everything lies on you. If something's going wrong and you're not putting in even if you are putting in your part, it's still on you. Because there's something you could have done better that could have made, if you have this vision in your head, right, and you see how it's going to work out and you can see it working clearly, but then when you go to execute, it doesn't happen the way you envisioned it, that's your fault. You could have done something better either from a management perspective, a training perspective, providing more information, better templates, better guides, anything to have made that experience better for that VA. And a lot of the time, yes, I'm not saying that there aren't bad VAs out there. There are, trust me. I had a chick one time who I hired to do transcription, and on a 7.5 minute video, it took her 35 minutes to transcribe. I was like, how in the world do you take 35 minutes to transcribe a video that's 7.5 minutes long? That's 1/5 of it. Took you 5 times the amount of time to transcribe that video than the video is long. And it happened like 4 times. I was like, okay. And then she said, oh no, this is just how it happens. This is how it works. I was like, no, this is not how it works. I was like, I can do that faster in my sleep. Like, what? So there are bad VAs, but understanding the difference between a bad VA and you not doing your job as a manager is where you have to you have to be able to take that responsibility on yourself. And then it also comes down to really practice. So I'll give you guys some tips. Like for cheap jobs where it doesn't require a ton of brain work, and I'm not saying that please, like if you're from this area, don't take it the wrong way. It's the communication barrier. That's really all it is. There's a huge communication barrier between people in the US who speak English versus people in other countries. But if you want really cheap labor and it doesn't require a ton of super strong expertise and guidance, then, or not even that, it doesn't require you to do, it requires guidance if they don't know how to do it, like a lot of guidance if they don't know how to do it, then that's not the task you want to give them. You want to give them basic tasks like scheduling posts or responding to quick emails or quick updates to things, super simple things. But if you want design work like video editing, I'll give you guys my secret. Video editing, photo editing, looking like Serbia, Ukraine, I think that's like Eastern Europe. I'm pretty sure that's like the Eastern European area. Looking like the Eastern European areas. They're not too expensive. Like I found my first video editor, not my first one. My first one was from India and he did okay. My second video editor is the one I use now and still use, and he started off at only like $10 per hour, and he was in Ukraine. So he did all my videos, all my thumbnails that you guys rave about. That's who was doing it, and I was paying him $10 an hour. I've given him pay raises since then, several, or a couple actually, since then, but he started out at 10 an hour. Blog writers. I've hired blog writers in the UK, in Canada, in the US even, for $15 per hour, and they're decent writers. They need some guidance, and that's what you have to understand. Who are you hiring? A $15 per hour blog writer is not someone that's going to need no guidance. They're going to need some guidance. They're not an expert An expert blog writer is charging, like an award-winning writer for blogs is charging like $100 to $150 per hour or more, not $15 per hour. So if you want top-notch quality, with little to no guidance for that person, then you should expect to pay for that. But if you don't expect that, then you're going to have a little bit of give and take here. You can't have the world's best writer and only pay him $15 per hour. It's just not possible. I'm not going to be the world's best writer and work for $15 an hour. That's just not how it works, guys. So understand what you're doing. Really think about it. If I was a blog writer and I was good at what I was doing and I'm writing content for these big time businesses, am I going to work for them and work for nothing? No. Everybody wants to make money. We all want to make money and make as much of it as we can with as little work possible. Thus meaning you shouldn't expect some blog writer who's good, really good, to work for $15 an hour. And that's why I like hiring young people. Like literally when I go online, I try to find younger people because I know they're newer to the industry, but they have some experience. And they're usually easier to train because they don't have someone who's come in and messed up every single thing that they should know about marketing. So I can go in and train them really easily. So understanding your market, understanding what you're doing, understanding how to hire, who you're hiring, there are different levels of expertise for every job that you hire for, where to hire from. I'll give you another tip. I really like, SEO. Find some really great people for SEO in Canada and the UK. Really great there. I'm sure you can find someone in the US, but US is going to be more expensive every single time. So until I hire internally, I'm trying to stay away from hiring in the US until I hire internally. It's what we're doing, right? So I've hired someone internally recently outside of TED, and she's more marketing strategy. But yeah, so let me see here. The 2.0 is going to happen in May. So the 1.0, we're doing all of the videos for Facebook and Instagram. We're completely redoing all of them. We're adding new content. We're keeping some of the old content. We're just reshooting them because the video quality. We had a few videos in the course. There's like 3 videos that had errors on the video where they like accidentally paused. So we're going to reshoot those as well. And then what we're going to do is from there, the 1.0 course, you guys will still get access to all of the live trainings we do each month. But if you want all of the new content that we're putting out, like I think we've partnered up with 8 more influencers and professionals in analytics, in all kinds of different areas. LinkedIn marketing. We have the lady who runs LinkedIn Local, one of the biggest partnerships to ever happen with LinkedIn. She's coming on to talk about LinkedIn marketing. Either from an ad perspective or a content style. So obviously, since we have all of these new influencers that we have to partner with and make sure that they're compensated, that's why we have to charge. So if you're in the 1.0, that's the good thing. You get a huge discount. You're basically paying what you would pay if you paid the $549 price, or was it the $399 price? It's either the $399 price or the $549 price. You're paying what you would pay, unless you bought the $549 course. Then you're basically paying less than what you would pay if you've never bought any of the courses and you just bought the 2.0. So it's a benefit really to hop in now and get in the 1.0, and you can start learning now. And then if you want the 2.0 upgrade, you can get that then. And you're still not spending any more money. Like people were freaking out about it. I was like, guys, you're not spending any more money than anybody buying the 2.0 course when it comes out would be spending. You're actually spending less. So we had a whole big ordeal about this. People were like, why am I doing this? I was like, easy guys, easy. I'm not gonna mess y'all up. I promised you guys I would take care of you, and that's my promise to you guys that I plan to keep, because I know that if I take care of you guys, you're gonna take care of me. That's just how it works. But we are at 48 minutes, and I'm gonna wrap tonight up because I'm just tired and I'm gonna go get some sleep. And yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight. No Valentine's Day gifts or girls tonight. So, thank you all for joining me, but let's go ahead and do the mentorship giveaway. If you guys are ready for that, I need you to do one thing as always. Hit the thumbs up button so that way I see that you're ready for it. And if you don't hit the thumbs up button, you don't qualify. Number 2, you have to leave a comment saying yes, because if I go through and don't see later that you didn't write yes on your comment, I'm going to take it away and you won't win ever again. Well, maybe not ever again, but at least not tonight. So, if you're ready, thumbs up, and a yes, please, letting me know that you're ready. Let me go ahead and look for a question really quickly that we can use for tonight. And I gotta get some food. My tummy hurts. I need some food. Y'all like my new hat? I just got my new Hawks hat. Going to the Hawks game. Got floor seats. I'm going in on November 27th. And I got a camo kind of set up. So I figured I'd buy a camo Hawks hat. But I love this hat. It's so cool. It's their new design too. They got this whole new like emblem on the back that looks really good. It's nice. All right, you guys are ready? You guys are ready. All right, so the question is, earlier I talked about running ad campaigns, and I gave you a price range for what I said you should charge for the management fee on a $1,000 to $3,500 campaign. What was the minimum management fee range? And I'm looking for the range. I said two numbers. What was the management fee range that I said you should charge between? Boom! Look at Tanner on it. Taking notes, taking names, taking notes and taking names. Tanner, I really hope you said yes, because if not, he said yes. Attaboy. We've got a bunch of people paying attention, though. William Helsel got it later. George was paying attention. Aiden was paying attention. Sahir was paying attention. Jack. Were y'all changing your answers afterwards? Jack put 750 at first. He was like, oh, damn, 500, 750. So, Tanner Tinsley, are you in the... I feel like you're already in the mentorship program. Tanner, let me know if you're in the mentorship program, because if not, or if you are, then I'm going to, because I think I've also given you one before. If you're not, though, congrats, and you definitely won. But let me know if you're in there or not really quick, please. Whew. Oh, man. No, 1K to 1.5K. So, Tanner, you're not so cool. Just send me a message on Facebook Business, on my Facebook Business page, and we'll send you your code. Luis, that is not the management fee for, so I was asking just for the management fee for a $1,000 ad spend. And the management fee I recommend charging for that, we did, and that's why we're doing some updates, is because I recommend, you can still do the percentage-based pay structure. There's no problem with doing that. I just feel like you shoot yourself in the foot for lower budgets, right? With lower budgets, if you're charging a percentage rate, you don't make as much. But with higher budgets, you don't limit yourself. That's the thing that sucks about a fixed rate budget or pricing structure. If you do a fixed rate pricing structure, even if they keep adding on to that budget, you can't adjust the budget later and say, all right, well, give us more money because you agreed to a fixed rate price. So that's that's what I want you guys to get. Just because I taught something one way one time doesn't mean that there isn't another way, or it might change or develop or adjust in the future. Things will always change and develop. So always think and be searching for new answers and determine what's best for you. It's a great way to leave off, I guess, by showing you guys that example. It's not wrong. That's number one. It's the base package for what you should be offering to clients. You shouldn't be selling packages less than $1,000 to $1,500. But at the same time, I did used to say 20% of the ad budget, or 20% of the ad budget is what you should charge for the management fee. And that's still a way to run your business. You can still work off of that model. There's tons of businesses who do. It's super beneficial when you get to clients who are spending like $25,000, $50,000 on an ad budget, and then they scale higher than that. Because trust me, there are businesses out there spending $100,000, $150,000, $500,000 just on ads every month. When you get to that range and you're charging 20% of a $500,000 ad campaign, Trust me, it's well worth it when you're making 100 grand off that campaign then. Versus if you were to do a fixed rate pricing structure, you're going to cap yourself off usually probably around 50 grand, 75 grand at that $500 cap. So that's what you have to understand. Or you can even do it to where you adjust your price at a specific range. There's several ways to do it. There's always several ways to do everything. Yes, the 2.0 is for the digital marketing school. That's the course we're doing a complete overhaul. Like the complete course is being reshot for the 2.0, just because there's new strategies, new features being added, new updates that Facebook's been doing. But it doesn't make the 1.0 any more out of date or less useless, because the way we built it was to be more long term. So it still works, it's still beneficial. There are just new features. For example, Instagram didn't have Instagram highlights back in the day. All Instagram highlights is adding a story to a highlight reel and then creating a button. To say that our course would not be good for you just because we don't have that one section in there would be crazy, because all it is a story. Right? So, and plus we have tons of content on it, and we put it out on YouTube. That's why we say like we have so many videos, is because my YouTube training is not only for people who haven't bought the course. The YouTube training is also for people who bought the course. That's why we create this content for you guys, specifically for you guys. But I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I hope you guys all have a great evening and a great weekend. Hope everyone takes the time to go through Jordan's channel. And Jordan, thank you for everything you do. Much love and respect. Tanner, not a problem, man. Make sure you send me a message so that way we can get you your coupon code for the program. But I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight, and I will see you guys next Thursday. But until then, Serial Entrepreneur out. Deuces.